Picture this. You are standing on a crowded transport platform.
Oh, we've all been there.
Right. The air is visibly tense. You can smell the stale coffee, maybe a hint of diesel exhaust. You look up, staring at that giant, flickering departure board, and your transport is just nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, the scheduled time comes and it goes.
Exactly. You check your watch, you check
Yeah.
the board again, you hear the collective heavy sigh of 50 other people doing the exact same thing. It is a universally dreaded scenario.
It really is.
But now, I want you to imagine navigating that exact same stressful, rapidly deteriorating situation, and you have to do it in a second language.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is absolute next level anxiety.
Right, because the cognitive load of just being delayed is high enough.
Definitely. I mean, your brain is suddenly calculating alternate routes, missed meetings, cascading scheduling disasters.
And then you add a language barrier on top of that.
Yeah, where you are desperately translating your panic into foreign vocabulary in real time. You can feel entirely helpless. Honestly, your operational vocabulary just shrinks to almost zero under that kind of stress.
Which is exactly why, for today's deep dive, we are looking at a highly specialized English learning curriculum.
It's a really unique source.
It is. The source material we have today doesn't try to teach you the entire language. Instead, it focuses entirely on just 14 core phrases.
Just 14.
Yeah, 14 highly specific, battle-tested phrases designed to help a non-native speaker survive a transport delay in English.
Which is so practical.
But our mission today isn't just to recite a vocabulary list to you.
Right.
We're going to decode the hidden communication strategies within these phrases.
Because it turns out the way you structure your sentences in these moments can actually help you regain psychological control in a completely chaotic situation.
Okay, let's unpack this, because looking at this curriculum, I don't just see a language lesson. I see a conversational survival kit for the modern traveler.
What's fascinating here is that when we look closely at the linguistic mechanics of these specific phrases, they are doing so much more than just asking literal questions about trains and buses.
Right.
They are highly sophisticated tools. They are designed to manage high-stress emotions, to establish rapid camaraderie with complete strangers, and crucially, to safely assert your rights as a consumer without starting a fight.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's start right at the beginning of the journey, the initial phase of chaos.
The worst part.
Yeah, you've just arrived at the station or the bus stop, and something just feels, off.
Like there are way too many people standing around staring at their phones.
Exactly. Or your bus is visibly missing from the road. The tension is brewing. You need to approach the staff to find out what is actually going on.
So the source material gives us the optimal opening moves for this phase, and the primary directive is to ask polite, highly specific questions.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, the curriculum suggests asking, excuse me, is the number 12 bus running on time?
Let's look at that specific phrasing for a second. Running on time. We use it all the time in English, but when you stop and think about it literally, a bus doesn't run.
Right, it drives.
It rolls. So why are we animating a heavy piece of machinery with the word running?
It's interesting. English has this cultural quirk of personifying its infrastructure. The curriculum highlights this specifically as the grammatical standard for vehicles adhering to a schedule.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we say a vehicle is running. It implies an active, ongoing process, and if you are at a train station, the structure shifts slightly to focus on the route rather than the vehicle itself.
So what would you say there?
You would say, is there any delay on the Manchester line?
It's so precise. Looking at that phrase, is there any delay on the Manchester line? It feels almost like a doctor diagnosing a patient.
That's a great way to put it.
Because if I'm panicking, my instinct, especially if I'm struggling in a second language, is just to walk up and yell, "Where is the train?"
Of course. That's the natural human response.
But this curriculum is telling you to systematically check for specific symptoms instead.
And that precision is entirely the point. When you yell, "Where is the train?" you are broadcasting your panic.
Right.
You're demanding the worker solve an existential crisis for you. But by asking, is there any delay on the Manchester line, where you are inviting a factual, systemic response rather than an emotional one.
You are giving the staff member a specific box to check.
Exactly.
And the staff responses you will get are equally standardized, right? Like they aren't going to give you a long emotional story about the train driver's bad morning.
No, not at all. They rely on their own script. The curriculum actually points out 3 common replies you need to train your ear for.
What are they?
Well, you might hear signal failure, which is the standard catch-all term for a technical railway
Oh
problem.
yeah, the classic.
You might hear delay of about 20 minutes, which is really just an exercise in managing expectations. Or the dreaded one, canceled.
Oh, meaning the physical service has ceased to exist for the day. Signal failure.
Yeah.
The ultimate mystery excuse. I mean, it could mean a light bulb went out, or it could mean the entire power grid collapsed.
You never really know.
But here is where I want to push back on the curriculum a little bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
This entire first section assumes you can actually find a staff member to talk to.
Oh, right.
In my experience, the second things go wrong. The station staff either get totally overwhelmed by angry passengers, or they mysteriously vanish into the back offices.
It's like magic.
You are left standing there, fully prepared to diagnose a patient who isn't even in the room. Where do you get your intel then?
Well, that abandonment is sadly a universal feature of modern public transit. And when authority figures become unavailable, the psychological state of the commuter shifts dramatically.
How so?
Human nature forces us into the next phase of the survival journey. We have to turn to our fellow stranded passengers.
Which is wild, because normally the golden rule of standing on a train platform is that everyone goes out of their way to actively ignore each other.
Headphones on, eyes down.
Exactly. But the second that departure board goes blank and the staff disappear, the platform turns into this temporary village where strangers suddenly share a common enemy.
Yes, and the linguistic tools required for this shift are completely different.
Right, because you aren't diagnosing anymore.
Exactly. You are moving from the formal diagnostic inquiry you'd use with staff to informal bonding over shared misery with your peers. You are suddenly trying to build rabid trust.
So what does the source suggest for that?
It provides great casual openers, emphasizing a shared perspective. For example, do you know what's going on with the train?
Right, using what's going on as a casual substitute for what is happening, it sounds much less demanding.
Yeah. Or a phrase like, have you been waiting long?
Oh, I like that.
Notice the mechanism there. It's a perfect conversation opener because it doesn't demand hard facts. It asks about their personal experience.
It immediately establishes that you are in the exact same predicament they are. You are establishing your residency in the temporary village. And actually, if you are in the UK, the source mentions a very specific, almost magical savior phrase you need to pull out in this village.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, do you know if there's a replacement bus service?
The infamous replacement bus service. Anyone who has traveled in the UK knows the deep collective groan associated with this phrase.
It's so visceral.
It's incredibly common there. When trains are entirely canceled, they will commandeer a fleet of actual road buses to drive from train station to train station along the route.
But the vocabulary that really caught my eye in this peer-to-peer section of the curriculum is the word apparently.
Ah, yeah.
Like strangers will lean over to each other and say things like, apparently there's been an accident on the line, or apparently we're going to be here for an hour. Why is the word apparently doing so much heavy lifting in these platform interactions?
Look at the function it serves. Apparently is the crucial currency of the rumor mill. When you are operating in a second language, you might misunderstand an announcement. I mean, even native speakers mishear things over those speakers.
Definitely.
So apparently acts as the ultimate linguistic shield. It basically translates to, I am sharing vital intelligence with you to build our bond, but I take absolutely zero personal responsibility if this information turns out to be entirely wrong.
It's the verbal equivalent of saying, don't shoot the messenger.
Exactly.
You're trading unverified intel to buy your way into the group. Okay, so you've commiserated with the crowd, you've used your social shields, you've confirmed through the rumor mill that, yes, the train is definitively delayed.
The worst is confirmed.
Now the adrenaline fades and a cold professional reality sets in.
Yeah.
You have places to be, you have a boss waiting for you at the office or a client sitting at a coffee shop. You need to alert them you are officially in the damage control phase.
And this is arguably the highest stakes moment for the learner.
Because it's your job on the line.
Right. You have to communicate your failure to arrive, but you must do it professionally and calmly. You have to manage their expectations without sounding panicked, because panic is contagious.
True.
The curriculum outlines a very deliberate progression for this phone call or text message. You don't lead with the delay. First, you soften the news. You start with, hi, I just wanted to let you know my train has been delayed.
I just wanted to let you know. It's so gentle. It's almost apologetic before you even get to the bad news.
It acts as a conversational shock absorber. It prevents the recipient's defensive reflexes from flaring up immediately.
Makes sense.
And once you've softened the blow, you immediately provide an estimate and an apology. So you say, I'm going to be about 30 minutes late. I'm really sorry.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting to me.
Oh.
The curriculum suggests using a very specific, formal umbrella term in the next breath. It advises you to tell your boss there's been a disruption on the line. Let me push back on that a bit. If you are stressed and trying to remember your English vocabulary, why use such a formal, clunky word? If you are texting your boss, why not just say, the train is broken, or the station is a total mess? Why force the word disruption?
Well, think about the power dynamic at play here. The train is broken sounds like an excuse a child would make.
Ouch, but fair.
It invites follow-up questions. Disruption, on the other hand, is a highly strategic, professional choice.
Also,
It sounds official, bureaucratic, and completely out of your personal control. By using a formal transport term, you aren't just saying you are late, you are borrowing the authority of the transport system itself.
oh wow.
Yeah, it covers a multitude of sins.
I
Whether
see.
the train is physically broken or the driver didn't show up or there's weather trouble, disruption covers it all cleanly.
It completely shifts the blame. You are framing it as a massive institutional failure, not a personal time management failure. Like, if there's a disruption, what could I possibly do? I am but a mere mortal fighting the system.
Exactly the point. It protects your professional image. And you cement that image with the final piece of the formula professional reassurance.
What's that?
You finish with, I'll keep you updated as soon as I know more. This demonstrates that even though you are physically trapped, you are still actively managing the situation. You are still a reliable employee.
Brilliant. It's basically a masterclass in PR.
Truly.
All right, so you've sent the text, you've bought yourself some time with your boss, your job is safe. But now the frustration really sets in. You paid good money for a service you aren't getting, and it is time to deal with the financial and logistical fallout of this mess.
Time for action.
Yes, you march yourself over to the ticket office.
And this transition is a massive emotional gear shift. You are moving from passive victimhood on the platform to active problem solving at the counter.
And the language has to shift with you.
Exactly. You are now stepping up to advocate for your consumer rights.
And the source material gives us what I honestly think is the ultimate empowering phrase for this exact moment.
Let's hear it.
You walk up to the desk, and instead of yelling, you say, I've missed my connection because of the delay. What are my options? Absolutely love that. What are my options? It's like a conversational skeleton key.
It really is, because it's a psychological reset for the staff member behind the desk.
How do you mean?
Think about it. When you walk up, they are already bracing for you to scream at them to magically make a train appear.
Right, they're in defense mode.
But by saying, what are my options? You aren't demanding the impossible. You are forcing them out of their standard apology script and pulling them into a problem-solving script. You are basically handing them the puzzle and asking them to fix it with you.
Right, you make them your partner instead of your adversary.
Exactly.
And the curriculum points out that the grammar you use next is crucial for keeping them on your side. It focuses heavily on the use of modal verbs, words like can or could.
This is where we really need to look at the mechanics of English grammar. When you are advocating for yourself, the difference between an imperative and a modal request is the difference between starting a fight and getting a refund.
Okay, break that down for me. How does a modal verb change the dynamic?
Well, an imperative is a command. If you walk up and say, give me a refund for this ticket, or put me on the next train.
Which is what you want to say.
Right, but you are triggering the fight or flight response of an already exhausted customer service worker. You are backing them into a corner.
Yeah, nobody likes being ordered around.
But when you use a modal verb, you soften the demand into a collaborative request. You say, can I get a refund for this ticket? Or could you put me on the next available service, please?
Okay, so even though the end goal is exactly the same, I want my money back, the could provides an illusion of choice.
Precisely. It gives the worker the agency to grant your request, which makes them far more likely to actually do it. It's polite but firm.
So you aren't begging.
No, you are claiming what is yours through collaborative language. And once you've made that request, the curriculum notes you need to listen closely for how the staff responds.
Because their vocabulary changes too.
Yes, their vocabulary will reflect the rights you've just triggered. You want to listen for phrases like entitled to, which formally acknowledges your rights.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or available seats, and of course the holy grail of transport vocabulary, at no extra charge.
It's amazing how flipping from give me to could I get changes the entire power dynamic. You are no longer a helpless passenger stranded in the cold. You are an informed consumer utilizing standard transport protocols.
It's empowering.
It really is. Okay, so you have successfully advocated for yourself. You used your modal verbs. You got your newly printed ticket in hand at no extra charge.
Victory.
You walk back out onto the crowded platform. You finally take a deep breath, and suddenly the loudspeaker crackles to life.
Oh, no.
We have reached the final boss of transport delays, decoding station speak.
The public announcements? These trip up absolutely everyone. I mean, even native speakers who have lived in the city their entire lives struggle with these.
You really do.
The announcements are fast, they are almost always muffled by terrible acoustic speakers, and they are incredibly dense with institutional jargon.
Right. And the curriculum actually breaks down the specific grammar happening in these announcements. It points out the heavy reliance on the present continuous tense for current situations.
Yes.
For instance, the announcer won't say the train is late. They will say the train is running late. Why use the continuous tense there?
Because the present continuous verb plus ing implies an active, evolving situation. If they say the train is late, it sounds like a permanent fixed failure.
Right.
Is running late implies the machine is still actively trying its best to get to you.
So it softens the failure.
Exactly. But beyond the grammar, it's the specific jargon that you really have to decode. The source gives us 3 classic announcement styles to look out for.
Okay, let's look at the first one. You might hear the crackle, and a voice says, platform alteration.
Which is a lot of syllables just to say the departure platform has changed.
Right. It is vital information buried in very formal, bureaucratic vocabulary.
And the second one is a classic of the genre, subject to severe delays. Or, if you are specifically in the UK, they will frequently use the rather grim euphemism, person on the track.
Right, which is an incredibly clinical way of delivering what is usually a very tragic reality.
It is.
And the third typical announcement is about modified times, running approximately 15 minutes late.
I have to ask about the overarching phrasing here.
Okay.
Why are these announcements always so painfully passive and clinical, like subject to severe delays? If the train is an hour behind, why don't they just get on the microphone and say, hey, everyone, we messed up, the train is very late.
Right.
Why dress it up in all this corporate armor?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is entirely about institutional risk management.
Risk management, yeah. Institutional language relies heavily on the passive voice and euphemisms because its primary goal is to maintain public calm while simultaneously distancing the company from any immediate blame. Think about how politicians speak when they get caught in a scandal. They don't say, I made a mistake. They say, mistakes were made.
Right, the classic non-apology.
The transport announcements do the exact same thing. Subject to severe delays makes it sound like an act of nature, like a storm that is happening to the train rather than a mechanical or logistical failure by the train company.
Mistakes were made by the train. That makes so much sense. It's an auditory shield.
Exactly.
But when you are a non-native speaker, standing on that platform, actively trying to listen through that corporate armor and a muffled speaker, it can cause utter panic. You feel like you need to translate a legal document in real time. How does the curriculum suggest you handle that?
Well, the curriculum gives you 3 crucial rules for survival when the loudspeaker comes on. And honestly, these rules are essential for any language learner or really anyone who is prone to sensory overload.
What's the first one?
Rule number 1 is the most important. Do not try to understand every single word.
So just let the bureaucratic jargon wash over you. Ignore the alterations and subjects too.
Yes. Treat it like white noise. You only need to extract 3 specific pieces of data from the announcement.
Okay, what's data point 1?
1, which train are they talking about?
Huh?
Listen for your destination or your route number.
Right. And 2.
2, what is the status? Are they saying delayed, canceled, or is there a new platform number?
Got it.
And 3, how long is the delay if they actually mention a time? If you can capture those 3 distinct data points, destination, status, time you have won the game, you can ignore the rest of the corporate apology.
That is so practical. So what does this all mean? Let's trace our emotional and linguistic steps back.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. We started with the initial panic, checking the system for a signal failure, like a doctor, checking a patient for symptoms, saving our cognitive load by using precise phrasing. When the staff vanished, we turned to our fellow commuters, creating a temporary bonded village built entirely on the social shield of the word apparently.
Exactly.
We executed damage control with our bosses by borrowing institutional authority and blaming the disruption.
A very strategic move.
That we stepped up to the ticket counter, shifted into problem-solving mode with the skeleton key, what are my options, and used modal verbs to politely command a refund.
Yes. And finally, we survived the final boss by extracting just 3 data points from the muffled corporate armor of platform alterations. It really is a complete journey from panic to resolution.
It is.
And what it highlights so beautifully is that while these 14 phrases and the grammatical tools humming beneath them, like the continuous tenses, the social buffers, those powerful modal verbs, are absolutely vital for navigating transport in English, they serve a much more profound purpose.
Which is?
Fundamentally, these communication strategies are about giving you back your personal agency in a moment when you feel completely tracked. They take a highly stressful scenario where you have zero physical control over your environment, and they give you actionable verbal control.
Giving you back your verbal control when you have no physical control.
Right.
I love that framing. And it leads me to a final thought for you to take away from this deep dive today.
Let's hear it.
Think about that brilliantly subtle, softening phrase we discussed for texting your boss. I just want to let you know there's been a disruption.
Yeah.
Think about the psychological distance and professionalism that one word creates. How often do we experience our own personal signal failures or unexpected disruptions in our daily lives or in our complex projects at work?
Oh, all the time.
Right, and we usually panic, over-explain, or get defensive. But what if we applied this exact same framework of calm, clear, and objective communication to any situation where life doesn't run on time?
That's a great point.
Because whether you were dealing with a missed deadline, a sudden personal setback, or just standing on a crowded, smelling platform staring at a blank departure board, deploying the right words with the right mechanics can be exactly what you need to help you find your way forward.